Welcome back, you all. We are going to make a scrub cap. Look at this. This was a request sent in by Tessa. So shout out to Tessa. And, but let me tell y'all, I'm not a nurse. I don't have long hair. But what I can do is create something cute and simple that will cover your hair. If you are a nurse or a doctor, or for some reason you have to wear scrubs and cover your hair, y'all can also use this anytime you're cleaning the house to let everybody know, listen, I am in total scrub mode. Anyway, I know that was corny. That was bad. All right, so that's what we're going to create today. And I'm going to show you everything that you're going to need to make this quick sew up project. And since it's gift giving time right now, this would be a great gift. And you can actually give this year round. So like I said, it is reversible. What you're going to need is our pattern. And you can find that at sewforiastudio.com. And it's just 2 pattern pieces that are, once you put everything together. All right. You are going to need cotton fabric for this. Okay. You can line it with satin if you choose. Okay. If you want to really be mindful of your hair, that is something that you can do. If it's something you have to wear quite often, you can line it with satin material. Okay. So grab your 2 prints if you want it to be, a contrast, and let's start cutting this. Like I said, you're going to need 2 cotton materials, or, if you're going to use satin for your lining, have a cotton outside and a satin interior. And you're going to take your pattern, and I want you to pay attention that it says to place on the fold. Okay. So those who are beginners to sewing, anytime you see place on the fold, there's always going to be arrows pointing to the side that needs to be placed on the fold of the fabric. And what that means is you want to see how this fabric is folded right here. You want to lay that. So if I had a full piece of material, you would want to lay that directly on the fold. Okay. Lay that directly on the fold, and you do not cut this area. Do not cut the fold at all. Okay. It's just letting you know that this piece is really half of what we need, so that when we're done cutting it, it will open up into one full piece. Okay. So if you're starting out, that's what that means to place on the fold. All right. So you want to cut one outside piece, and then you're going to cut an interior piece. Okay. You're going to do the same for your dome. That's the top of your head. Okay. So one outside piece and one lining piece. Okay. Now, some other items that will make this project go smoothly is to have yourself, a little ruler. All right. Have yourself some scissors or a rotary cutter, and have yourself some straight pins or some binding clips. Okay. So that'll be good. If you have a business or something like that, then, grab your tag so that you can place it in when you sew. Y'all, this is going to be such a fun, quick project. You're going to want to make a ton and just give them away, donate them. All right, go ahead and cut your items out, and let's meet back here and start putting this together. All right, one more thing you want to have is a marking pen. Okay. Grab your marking pen, and this is disappearing ink. Okay. Don't use a regular pen. You're going to have issues. Take one dome at a time, and let's turn it over so that you're on the wrong side. Okay. And let me zoom in a little bit so that you can see this. We're going to mark 1/4 of an inch from this bottom straight side. Okay. So go ahead and take your ruler. Okay. Find your 1/4 of an inch. Okay. And we're just going to mark. Actually, let me go this way because I got to do both sides. Here we go. So just come in with a line just about a 1/2 inch. It doesn't have to be much. Okay. Do the same for your lining. All right. All right, you can put that pin to the side. All right, now what we're going to do is we are going to find our centers for our dome, and we're going to find our center for the upper part of our side band. Okay, so go ahead and take your band. If you see here, if you notice, it's got a little curving part, and then there's a straight side. I want you to grab the curved part and make sure that it's lined up so that we can find the center over here on our folded side. Okay. Once you have found the center there, we're just going to make a little clip. You can put a pin there if you want to. When I mean little clip, y'all, I mean tiny, tiny clip. Okay, just like so. Just like so. All right, do the same thing with your lining. Okay, make sure you're nice and straight. Again, we're on the curved side. Okay. Come over to the folded area right at the tip. Make just a little snip. Okay, just a little snip. And see, now what that's done is it's kind of given us like a V. Okay, isn't that cool? All right, now let's do the dome. Fold it in half. All right, and then do the same thing at the top of the arch. Little snip. All right, do the same thing with our print or outside. Fold it. All right, so we have found a center of all 4 of our pieces, okay? All right. Now what you're going to do, let's take our 2 outside pieces. We'll lay our lining to the side. And let's open up our band, okay? Now, I am right side up right now, okay? I'm right side up. That means this is the pretty side, okay? Now, we're going to match up our centers with our dome, okay? Now, if you want a contrast dome, then, you know, grab your contrast. You do you. All right, so we're going to take, this fabric's a little tricky. Okay, we're going to take and put right sides together. Okay, so take the dome, have it face down where right sides are touching each other. Okay, and let's just match up those V's just like so. Oh my gosh, it just never gets old. Although, yeah, I might be annoyed by it. I don't know. Let's put a pin in it. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to really work on our dexterity here. We are going to keep each lined up, and you're going to have to take your time and follow this curve around this dome pinning because it's a curve and the other that it's attaching to is a little bit straighter than it is. So you're just going to keep walking it around, keeping it lined up, pinning as you go. Now, if you're advanced, you know, you can just put maybe 1 or 2 in here And if you're good at lining up, you can just zoom through these. But y'all, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a nurse, but I put these on and I'm just like, these are so freaking cute. I like them. So Tessa, thank you for the request. All right, so now when you get down here to where we had our mark, we're gonna just stop right above that line, okay? So we're gonna start and stop where we marked, okay? All right, so we got one side done. Now let's start on the other side of the dome, and we're gonna pin. I would love to know if you all wear scrubs. My nephew actually wears scrubs, and he is not in the medical field. He is a tech guru, and he wears scrubs and loves them because they're not tight fitting or anything like that. They're nice and loose. He just gets high-end scrubs, so I'm curious if other people do that. I think if I put scrubs on, I would always feel like I was going to work. All right, we made it around to the other line. We're just going to put a pin right here, okay? All right, so now your item should look like this, okay? Very good, okay? There's your dome on the side, all right? I want you to do the same thing to your lining, okay? And then I'll meet you over by the machine. Okay, we are going to now sew this curve, okay? And we're gonna sew at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. We're gonna start right where our line is that we drew, okay? And those who are new, make sure I'm lined up here. Those who are new, seam allowance is the distance from the edge of your fabric to your stitch line. That space is called seam allowance. And for this project, and each project is different, for this project, we're doing a 1/4 inch, okay? So go ahead and stitch forward and reverse. And you're just gonna stitch around this curve. Take your time, okay? All right, and then stop directly on that line. And reverse. All right, so your dome should look just like so. All right, do the same thing with your lining. All right, great stitching. So both of your pieces should look like this, okay? Our dome is attached. If I flip it over, here's our band, okay? Can you kind of see how that's, if you took a peek on the inside, look how good that looks. Y'all did good. All right, the same should be for your outside fabric, okay? See how that's looking? All right, that's how your two pieces should look. All right. So we're going to press this, but before we press, anytime you have a curve, okay, you want to clip your fabric towards the seam, okay? So I've got a curve here at the top of this dome, And I want to separate my material so that when I go to flip it to the right side, it lays nice and flat, okay? And all you got to do is just take your scissors. Do not cut your, your stitch line, y'all, so please be careful. Take your scissors and you're just going to do a little snip, okay? You're just going to, about every 1/2 inch is good. And just follow that curve. And what that does is it just really helps that fabric to relax. That's the simplest way to put it. So do this for your outside piece. Be careful that you don't cut anything else. Do this for your outside piece as well as your lining, okay? And then I want you to press your seams. Okay, let's press our seams, okay? I want you to turn it to the right side. Just kind of flip it so that we see the pretty side. And it's so pretty. All right, here's our seam here, okay? And I want you to have it face towards the dome, okay? So they're gonna be facing inward, okay? And we're just gonna press. Now this is gonna be tricky because we're going inside. All right, and if you have, you know, like a standard ironing board, you can place this on the little rounded part and press as well. Okay, makes it a little bit easier. But for our little flat board, you just kind of make your way around, okay? So keep going all the way around and do the same for your lining piece, okay? Okay, y'all, we're almost done. I know. You probably blinked and was like, we're about done with this project? Like, for real. Okay. I want you to take your main fabric, and if you're going to end up like monogramming this or something like that on the front, you know, side, whatever, this would be the time to do it before you put it together with the lining. So that's just a little commercial break there. All right, but have this on the right side, so on the pretty side. And then you're going to take your lining piece and we're going to fit that into your lining piece. Okay, lining up your tails and everything. Just place that inside. Just like so. See how I'm doing that? And line up your side. Okay, so it should look like this. Okay, and look like this on the other side. Okay, now remember, this is our wrong side. Okay, you should be seeing your lining seam, and if you look inside, you should see your outside seam. Okay, so right side should be touching each other. Okay, these two should be right sides. Okay, all right, now we're gonna just start pinning. All right, so down where, let me turn this around, down where your ties are, if I lay this down right here, okay, the first place I want to pin is in this little inner area right here, which is the base of our dome, okay? So we want to match up those seams right there. So if we look here, we'll see our two seams. Can you see that? We want to match those up. All right, and then we're going to put a pin there. If you like it, then you should have put a pin in it. I know y'all were waiting for it. All right, so now let's go across and do our other side. Again, matching up those seams. See those seams? Can you see that? Match up those seams. Put a pin there. All right, we're going to leave this open right here. And now what you're going to do is you're going to start to pin all the way around, okay? So let's start right here, lining up. I'm saying if you can stay in the frame so we can see, that would be great. All right, and we just keep going. You can use binding clips if you want to, whatever's easiest for you. And just keep going, y'all, all the way around. If you have a tag, you can put your tag in, okay? All right, keep pinning, and I'll see you back here in just a moment, so we'll check and make sure our pinning's good. Okay, your pinning should look something like this, okay? Can you see that? So we've got our tails pinned. Okay, we're leaving this bottom of our dome, our straight part of our dome, open. We are going to come in just about a ½ inch. So if you want to mark in just a ½ inch, you can just kind of eye it. So we are going to come in a ½ inch a little bit. Okay, and anytime we have an opening, I try to teach you all to use, you know, a double pin so that on opposite sides of that opening, so that if you're talking, you know, somehow you get distracted, you see that double pin and you're like, oh, I need to stop there. And you don't end up closing up your hole. Okay, so we're gonna, he's tiny, but he's mighty. All right. And so everything else should be pinned all the way around the perimeter here, okay? All right, we're gonna go over to the sewing machine and we're gonna stitch a ½ inch seam allowance. All right, I'll see you back here in just a moment. Okay, y'all, look at that. We got stitched all the way around. Now, before we flip it, we need to cut a few things. So at the end of your tails here, we are going to cut these corners about 45 degrees. Just cut those corners off there. Again, don't cut your stitch line, okay? So go ahead and do that. All right. The other area that you are going to cut is right here, you know, where we left our opening, right in that area, those two corners right here where we pivoted to go down our tails, right here. So, see if I can get you to see where I'm cutting here. You'll see there's a pivot. There's a stitch pivot right here. So you're going to cut towards, at 45, towards the corner, and then cut about 1/4 inch on the left, 1/4 inch on the right. That'll help that to relax. Do the same thing on the other side. Again, right there in the center, about 1/4 inch, and then 1/4 on the left, 1/4 on the right. Okay, now go ahead and flip it to the right side through this opening that we left, and grab your stick, okay, so that you can poke out your corners, okay? Look at it. You can push that lining in. All right. See how this is like all still kind of folded? You want to pull it out. And we're going to go to the iron, and I want you to press all of this nice and smooth, but make sure you pull that seam all the way out so it's nice and flat, okay? And the seam's not hiding in there. And then press your tails, everything, okay? I'll meet you back here. Okay, now, remember we had an opening right here, okay? We have an opening, and we need to close that up. So you can see how it naturally folds towards the inside, which is great, okay? We're just gonna press that really good here. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a top stitch all the way around, and that's going to close up that as well as finish off our cap. All right. All right. Let's go do that. All right. We are going to stitch 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So really close to our edge. Okay. When you start off with top stitching, you don't have to reverse. Okay. Do this all the way around, and then y'all, we are going to be done. Look, y'all, we did it. Look it. Oh my gosh. Look at that. We did that. You did that. And look, you can flip it to the other side if you want. And you have two designs. You can even fold it up on your head and have a little bit of a contrast band. Oh gosh, you guys did such a great job. Such a great job. You know, it's long enough where you can just tie it, you know, double tied in the back or create a bow. This is so fabulous what you all did. Oh, I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you. And thank you so much for joining me creating these projects together. I really had a fun time. And I'm hoping that this will be useful for you, whether you know somebody who's wears scrubs and needs some cute, caps, or you yourself need them, or you just want to watch the video. Whatever. Whatever works for you. I'm glad you're here. And thanks so much for all of your support this year. We just celebrated 1 year on YouTube, and I am super proud of myself. And I'm going to tap myself on the back. But no, I'm really proud of you all showing up, and I really appreciate it. And so I ask that you continue to share our videos, continue to like and subscribe to us. And if you want to find out more about us or request some custom items, you can go to souphoriastudio.com. And I would love to hear from you. I can't do everything, but I do try to do a few things to make sewing fun. All right. Until, until our next gift giving, maybe we'll do like 12, like the 12 days of Christmas. That would be fun. And so we'll create some more. All right. Until next time, keep creating. Bye.